So tell us, what's your dream job?
Darling, I've told you several times before, I have no dream job. I do not dream of labor.
This sentiment has been echoing amongst a large population of millennials that are finding themselves leaving high-paying 9-to-5 jobs in search of purpose, fulfillment, and time freedom. The I do not dream of labor trend started about 5 months ago, around the same time that we began to see nearly 4 million people voluntarily quit their jobs, the highest monthly number ever reported by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. In the wake of this Great Resignation, many young people are wondering if life can be more than just working endlessly and constantly having to answer to a boss. Even the pay increases and bonuses that employers are offering to retain talented personnel is not working like it did before. People are no longer willing to exchange their life, health, and sanity for perks and incentives. So what does all this mean for the future, and is it even possible to have happiness, purpose, time, and a good salary simultaneously? Can we really have it all? Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Irina. I'm a real estate agent here in Oregon, and on my channel we talk about what's going on in the housing market and in the workforce and why that matters to you. I also love to share my experience as a real estate agent through vlogs, day in my life type of videos. So if any of that content sounds like it's interesting to you, please consider subscribing and joining me weekly for new videos. We are drinking mango black tea today from this very cool cat mug. This is our mug of the day. And this is a video that I've been wanting to make for a while now. It's a trend that I've been noticing take place over the course of the past several months, and I'm sure you've heard of it if you watch videos on YouTube regularly like I do. And this is the I do not dream of labor, I don't have a dream job trend. So I guess to boil this trend down into just a few sentences, essentially what's happening is a generation of young people, I think around my age in their early to mid 20s, are realizing that they're not actually finding fulfillment in their 9-to-5 job. And I think a lot of these people are coming from more of a corporate background. So these are people that have gone through the traditional route. They've done the 4 years at university, gotten a degree. They've gone to work at a very great, well-paying 9-to-5 job. I believe in most of these cases, these jobs they pay well. They're good, respectable positions. But after going through that traditional path and getting this job and arriving at what they thought would be the finish line, they are actually finding that they're unfulfilled. They're more stressed and anxious than they might have even been in college. They're finding that they just don't feel like they're fulfilling their purpose, and they're actually experiencing a lot of anxiety. And it's interesting because they're saying that they thought that they would arrive at this feeling of happiness. You know, they have the good paycheck, they have the good job, they have the degree, and for some reason, the happiness and the fulfillment still isn't there. I feel like a lot of people, especially people around my age, really tie their self-worth into their productivity. And I remember thinking that this was just something that I do because I started noticing it in myself. But as I was seeing this trend take place, I noticed that a lot of people really find their value in how busy they are, how productive they are, how much money they make. And a lot of us are just trying to break free from that. I think the pandemic has really also taught us what is really important in life. It kind of forced us to stop, and as terrible as it was, it really, or I guess still is because we're still in a pandemic, it really showed us how important it is to spend time with the people that we love and to spend time doing the things that we love, the things that bring us value and purpose and fulfillment in life. And I think the pandemic has really accelerated this desire to break out of the typical path that everybody usually takes. I've also noticed that when you meet someone and you ask, hey, what do you do? People always, 99% of the time, respond with their career or their job. And if they don't have a career, or if they have a career that they're unhappy with, then that directly correlates with how happy they are with themselves. So if they don't have a career or they hate their career, they are consequently unhappy with themselves as a person. And I think this is just such an issue that we've really started to wake up to, that our self-worth and our happiness should not be directly tied to the way that we make money. I resonate with this message really deeply, and just with this trend as a whole. Even though I've never worked a 9-to-5 corporate job or anything, I work as an independent contractor, as a real estate agent, but really with the idea that my self-worth is tied to my productivity and my accomplishments. And it really brings me back to a very distinct memory that I have. Fresh out of high school, I really wanted to go to college. I wanted to go to a 4-year university and graduate with a degree. It was just something that I thought was very prestigious and very amazing. and I couldn't afford to go to college right after high school. There's a lot to unpack with that story. I'm not going to get into all the details, but I wanted to experience what a day at college would feel like, so I went with one of my good friends to Portland State University. I spent the day with her. It was very interesting. None of her professors noticed that I wasn't supposed to be in her classes, and so I guess that's just a testament to how big the classes are. But I remember going with her and I was like, this is great because it'll give me an opportunity to go down to the financial aid department and talk to them about all of my paperwork. I was supposed to start winter term. That was my goal since I couldn't start fall term because of just financial reasons. So I went down to talk to the financial aid department, and I was just having such a good time. I was loving the whole college experience. I loved the big lecture halls, and I was like, man, I'm excited for me to actually be a student here. So I went to go talk to the department, and by the end of our conversation, I realized that I was not going to be getting any financial aid and that I wouldn't be able to attend in the winter like I had planned. And I remember just going into some random stairwell. I was completely lost, like I couldn't even find my friend because I didn't know where her class was. I couldn't get back. So I just sat in this stairwell and I just cried. I was so upset that I wouldn't be able to pursue this traditional path that I thought I had to pursue in order to be successful, in order to be worth something. And I just remember being so incredibly sad. Thinking back, I'm like, wow, what a drama queen. But at the time, it was a really hard pill to swallow. I say all of this to say that I wanted to follow this traditional path so badly that when I wasn't able to, I felt like such a misfit. I felt like there was something wrong with the way that I was doing things. I completely tied my self-worth to my education, to my future income, and my productivity as a whole. I still often do that, measuring my worth and the success of the past day based on how productive and busy I was. And after watching a lot of these videos, I realize a lot of us are living the same experience. But why are we doing this? And why do we feel like this? And if we're unhappy at the end of the day, then what's the point? I also notice that people, not just other people, but I do this as well, and I'm really trying not to, really wear their busyness, their productivity, their lack of sleep as like this badge of honor. And I did this a lot in high school. I remember I'd be like, oh my goodness, I got like 2 hours of sleep last night. Like, why did we do this? I don't know if any of you watching did that, but you know, I would be staying up working on a research paper, or I did yearbook back in high school. So, you know, if I was staying up late working on some yearbook pages, I thought, man, I'm just so productive and so busy and, you know, girl boss or whatever, I don't know. And even right now in my adult life, sometimes I sort of tend to do that, and I notice other people will do that. They'll be like, oh, you know, I'm just completely loaded with work. And I feel like on a subconscious level, we kind of say that, but we feel good about ourselves. I know I do, or I have when I've said stuff like that before. I'd feel like, wow, I'm really doing something with my life because I don't even have time to properly eat or sleep because I'm so busy. And it's just so messed up. Like, where is this coming from? Why do we feel like we have to be just super busy and running ourselves into the ground to be worth something? Tea break. This mug says, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but it says, "You are perfect." That's your reminder today. Okay, so how did this whole situation, this whole I do not dream of labor, I don't have a dream job trend lead to the Great Resignation? The Great Resignation is something that I talked about a couple videos ago. If you haven't seen that video yet, I highly recommend watching it. I'm going to link it in the description box down below and in the cards for this video. It'll be up here somewhere. But in that video, I talked about how so many people this past spring quit their jobs. A lot of people have been quitting their 9-to-5 job. I can't help but think that this I do not dream of labor trend has really instigated a lot of these situations where people are quitting. When people are saying I don't dream of labor, I don't think that they're saying they never want to work another day in their life. I think they are just trying to reframe what meaningful work looks like for them. So I think what most people are longing for is freedom to do the following. So one is to determine their own schedules, wake up when they want to, go to bed when they want to, and not be a slave to your alarm clock. The second is to not have a limit to how much money they can make, not have a boss over you that's determining how much you're worth. Really being able to say the sky is the limit. I can earn as much as I want to earn. The next point is to have meaningful work that aligns with their purpose, to not feel like they're replaceable, and not having to be accountable to anyone else but yourself. I think right now a lot of people are after time freedom specifically. So, a lot of people actually have been taking pay cuts to pursue more entrepreneurial careers. And even though in the short term something entrepreneurial might be more stressful and a little bit more work and might not be making them as much money as their day job was, people are gladly taking those risks and taking those pay cuts because they believe and they know that in the future this entrepreneurial thing that they're pursuing is going to bring them so much long-term success, happiness, and potentially more money than they could have made at their 9-to-5 job. They're okay with the short-term difficulties because they are seeing the long-term benefits, and even through the short-term difficulties they still have time freedom, which is something that they didn't have at their 9-to-5 jobs. I've recently heard that many jobs are offering pay increases and bonuses and different incentives just to get their employees to stay, and in lots of cases even that's not working. I heard in a video that I watched recently, I'm going to link it in the description box down below, I always link all of my resources down there, but I heard that past $75,000 a year, pay increases really don't do much for most employees because after $75K a year, their lifestyle doesn't change too much, and now what they're after again is that time freedom, that flexibility, and feeling like they don't have to be accountable to anyone other than themselves. And also besides that, people want purpose and fulfillment, and I feel like previous generations or maybe in the past, people have been made to feel a little bit guilty for wanting to enjoy their jobs. I've definitely heard the sentiment before that it's just a job, like you don't have to love it, you don't have to enjoy it, it just is there to bring you money and that's it. And I get where that mindset is coming from, because of course you're not going to enjoy every single aspect of your job. There are parts of my job that I don't necessarily love, but I think there's nothing wrong and nothing selfish about wanting to enjoy your job. I mean, you are spending a majority of your life, unfortunately, at work, so why not make it a job that you find fulfilling? So what does the future of work actually look like, and what type of jobs are people going to be gravitating towards in the future? I don't feel entirely comfortable speaking about greater societal changes. A lot of the videos that I watched did provide some insightful commentary on free market capitalism, but I am not really going to be talking about the benefits and the shortcomings of capitalism in this video. If you want to share your thoughts in the comments down below, I would be happy to hear them. But really, I just want to be talking about the shift that's going to be coming under our current system, because honestly, I don't really see America veering away from capitalism anytime in the near future. So number one, I think remote work is going to be more of a given. It's going to be a lot more common rather than the exception. I think, of course, with the pandemic, we have noticed that a lot of people are doing their jobs perfectly fine and they're staying just as productive, if not more productive, from home. Another change that I think is coming, and I think is already sort of here, is that degrees are not going to be as valuable as they once were. Now, don't come for me. I'm not saying that college is a bad thing or that having a degree is useless. Absolutely not. But I think that in the future, having experience or something like a portfolio that shows your employer what you're capable of doing is going to be a lot more commonplace than just being hired on with a degree. Some jobs you need a degree for, absolutely. Not every position is going to be available to people that don't have a degree in that specific field. But I think in the future, we're going to see a lot more flexible roles. I'm already seeing a lot of business owners. There was an interview that I recently watched. I'll put it up on the screen because I can't remember what the video was called, but this man was talking about how he likes to hire young people that actually, for the most part, don't have degrees, but they're well versed in social media and different things that have proven to be very valuable for his business. So he's giving these young people a chance without a degree to really prove themselves and show him what they can do. And I think that's going to be a lot more commonplace in the future. The third change that I think we will be seeing in the future is there's going to be a much heavier emphasis placed on how quickly can you learn and not what do you already know. Which, you know, this point is very similar to my previous one, but it just takes me back to even a couple years ago in college when I was being told that soft skills are becoming much more important than hard skills and technical skills. So, you know, hard skills are what can I do, what skills am I bringing to the table, rather than soft skills, which are how good am I with people, how good am I at communicating, how quickly can I learn new tasks, how well do I work in a team, different things like that. So if a couple years ago I was already being told that soft skills are a lot more valuable and how teachable are you is a lot more valuable than what specific technical skills do you have already, I think, you know, this will be even more important going down the road in the future. Now, of course, there are jobs like being a nurse, a doctor, a surgeon, an engineer, an electrician like my husband, so many jobs that you need technical skills for. But I think in the future, of course, there will be a lot of positions open that people can come in without necessarily having specific technical or hard skills. But as long as they're teachable, willing to learn, and they learn fairly quickly, I think there will be a lot of positions open for people like that. Now, the fourth shift that I am already starting to see, but I think we will see a lot more of in the future, is a lot of entrepreneurship and small businesses. You know, with this shift and a lot of people quitting this past spring, I think people are quitting to pursue entrepreneurship specifically. A lot of people talking about starting YouTube channels or investing in real estate, day trading, starting small businesses. And I think that is very, very exciting. I talked about this in my Great Resignation video, how it's really awesome that people are starting to build multiple streams of income. Even now, I think multiple streams of income is becoming more of the norm rather than the exception. Another thing to think about is, would this be possible, entrepreneurship, small businesses, local businesses, would this be possible under any other system other than free market capitalism? I'm not sure. I would love to hear your thoughts about that in the comments down below. So what does all of this mean for the everyday person like you and me? I know right now there is a lot of noise in the entrepreneurship and productivity space, and it can be really hard to pinpoint what the right path is for you specifically. Here's the thing. I think the whole world opens up so much when you realize that there are options besides the traditional path, the traditional trajectory, and that your path in your life doesn't have to look like everyone else's. And I know this doesn't seem like a groundbreaking statement, but I remember for me when I really came to the realization that my life didn't necessarily have to look like other people's lives that were my age, the world really just opened up, and it felt really empowering to know that there are other options. If you find purpose and fulfillment in going to university and working towards a degree, I think that's amazing and you should go for it. And if you find purpose and fulfillment in working a 9-to-5 job, in being like a nurse or an engineer, being a part of something that's greater than yourself, I think that's amazing and you should do it. I really don't like all of the slander that 9-to-5 jobs have been getting lately, because truly there are so many jobs that bring fulfillment, purpose, that allow people to be creative, that bring people wonderful salaries. So I think that if you believe that that is a part of your purpose, that that is a part of the life that you want to live, you should absolutely go for it and don't let anybody else tell you different. And if you want to pursue an entrepreneurial career, if you want to get into YouTube or social media or investing your money in places like real estate, stocks, cryptocurrencies, etc., I think that's also amazing and you should go for it. There is no one right path. There is no one right trajectory that is going to be correct for every single person. Of course, not everyone has the luxury of just dropping everything and following their dreams because we have to make money. I completely understand that. It is a great privilege to be able to pursue the life that you want to pursue and be able to take a pay cut in the process and be financially stable enough to do that. But if you can find a way to work towards the things that bring you purpose and happiness, even if it's just tiny, tiny baby steps, I think that you should do it. Remember that really staying consistent with your goals, having that consistency day by day, is so much more important than intensity. And don't ever let anyone make you feel like you're selfish for wanting to find fulfillment and happiness in the work that you do. Work does not have to suck forever, okay? There might be some challenging times on your way to your ultimate goal, but ultimately, even in the challenging times, there can be enjoyment that is found during the journey, during the process on the way to that goal that you are trying to reach. So I know this is getting a little bit sappy, but I guess I just want to say that The days of the school to job pipeline are over. Your worth is not determined by your salary, your degree, or your level of productivity. The pandemic, as awful as it was, has shown us that life is so short and so precious, and there's nothing wrong with doing everything in your power to build a fulfilling, happy life for yourself and not just living to work. If you stayed till the end, I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, for listening to all of my thoughts on this topic. Of course, I would love to hear from you down in the comments below. If you have any personal stories or experience with the things that I've talked about, I would love to hear it. I would love to hear your opinions on this. What do you think about this I do not dream of labor trend? What do you think about the Great Resignation? All of these topics, I would just love to continue the conversation in the comments down below. If you enjoy this type of content and you want to hang out with me every week, please consider hitting the subscribe button, leaving a like and a comment on this video. What that does is it really tells YouTube that this is an interesting video and that they should recommend it to more people. And when YouTube recommends my videos, it really helps my channel grow. So I appreciate it so much when you guys engage with the content. Of course, if you need to buy or sell a house in Oregon, if you need a real estate agent, please feel free to reach out to me. All of my contact information is in the description box down below. I would love to hear from you and help you achieve your home goals. If you want to see more from me on a more daily basis, especially behind the scenes of my life as a real estate agent, you can follow me on Instagram, which is @IrinaD. All right, you guys, I will see you next week with a brand new video. Bye!